okay, y'all. It's 2026. It's 2026. It's getting serious, isn't it? 2025 went by like a sneeze. This ride is moving too fast. I can't deal with that. And listen, I don't know if the folks over on YouTube over here know what's been going on in my life, but as you can tell, we're in a different location. Yeah. I moved to New York City, so more on that to come, but we're not gonna do that today because that's not on the agenda. No, just enjoy like the pretty background in my new bookshelves. But now that this year is fresh and bright and new, and we will have some fresh reads on the docket, let's talk about my favorite reads of 2025. Now, I only read 49 books this year, and I'm in the middle of my 50th right now. And you may be like, oh, girls, your goal 50? Like, hurry up. Like, you don't have a lot of time. Speed it up so you can meet your goal. No, the goal's not 50. The goal was actually 100 at the beginning of the year. Yeah. And then I put it down to 75. And I didn't even touch that. I didn't even caress that number. So I would say the new goal is 50, but this is in the future now. Like, y'all are watching this when the new year has already happened, and it's December 31st right now. So that's not getting done because the book I'm in the middle of is 670 pages. But who cares about the damn goal? You know, it's all fake anyway. I had some pretty good reads this year. I would say that it was a decent reading year in comparison to the year prior, where I had banger, like everything, banger. We're just gonna call this decent. Like, I've read 49 books and I have 10 books to share with y'all today. So clearly we won. Regardless, I technically only have 9 books that I've completed that I'm talking about in this video, but I'm including the book that I'm in the middle of right now. I say I'm in the middle of it. I'm on chapter 2, but I already know it's gonna be fire. I already know it's gonna be fire. So I will be including it as an honorable mention. Thank you, because who makes the rules? Me. This is my house. I need to have an even number. Like, it can't be 9. Like, no, bye. I don't even think all of the books in this video were 5 stars. The thing about me, like the way I treat something like this, past me cannot be trusted. When I do an end of year wrap up, I just kind of have to look at all the books that I read and see what jumps out and what speaks to me, because December me and April me, June me, different women. So if I rated something 4 stars then, it could have been 5 stars now, because I can't stop thinking about it. If I rated something 5 stars then, but it's not jumping out at me, then it's definitely not gonna be in this video, you know, because I've grown. Some things just have that eternal sauce and you didn't know it at the time, but you definitely know it now, so it deserves the recognition. Right now, you're speaking to the most mature, most elevated version of Eden, December 31st, 2025. All of these were definitely highly rated throughout the year, regardless of the time, but maybe not 5. You get the picture. Like, I don't have to explain it to you. We are starting off strong with Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wang. Before we dive in, like, look at this special edition. Thank you, Lexi, Newly Nova. Y'all know her, you love her. I will say thank you for the special edition, Lexi, but I'm not gonna say thank you for your wrong opinion about this book, because she doesn't love it as much as me. So, yeah, thank you for this gorgeous book. It was her birthday gift to me, and I will cherish it forever, but like, I just have to close my eyes and close my ears when we talk about this book. We just agree on books almost all of the time, and so when she rates something like 3.5 stars or 3 stars that I thought was like knocked the ball out of the park, like incredible, it hurts my feelings, so I just have to pretend like it didn't happen. This is a dark academia fantasy set in the city of Tehran. Oh, sorry, I can't stop looking at it. Oh, it's so beautiful. Our main character, Siona, has spent her entire life being extra studious, trying to be the first woman admitted to the high magistracy. She is high-strung. When I say in her books, I mean in her books. And hooray, she does this. Yes, she becomes a high mage, but at what cost? Yeah, because all the men at this university actually despise her and are preying on her downfall. So much so that when they're picking lab assistants, they assign her the janitor that just like happens to be in the room at the time that they're having this conversation. But when it comes to her studies, when it comes to her work, this man, he has a past that could help Siona in more ways than she could have ever imagined. Siona is very trusting of her government, the leaders of Tehran, and is very much a victim to propaganda that has been fed to her entire life about what really keeps the city that she lives in up and running, and what the Tyrannish actually do to stay in power. M.L. Wang does an incredible job of writing from the perspective of a character whose entire worldview comes crashing down. And trust Siona, she puts up a fight. Like, she does not make it easy. And I don't want to spoil anything, but her cognitive dissonance was both fascinating and incredibly frustrating to read about. This is not the type of book where you turn your brain off. You know how people like to say, oh, you could turn your brain off type of book? No, it is not that type of fantasy. You need to be locked in. For me, I had a little bit of a hard time kind of understanding the way that the magic works. It's not that the magic system is that complicated. It's definitely well thought out, but it's not complicated in a way that you wouldn't be able to understand it if you actually were paying attention. I literally think my brain was just shutting down, like Windows shut down at the time, because I had to keep going back and read certain parts again and whatever. But I will just give you this advice: pay attention when you're reading this book, especially at the very beginning, so you can understand how the magic works. It was so good. I finished this book so quickly, I could not put it down. The political commentary and overall tone was very similar to that of Babel by R.F. Kuang, and y'all know I love that book. The characters are experiencing the same kind of thought, and the narrative is reminiscent of Babel. Not in a bad way. I'm just saying, if you like Babel, there's like a 90% chance that you will really love this book. If you're looking for a dark academia epic fantasy book to kick off 2026, look no further. I'm here to serve. Moving on to the next book. Book number 2 is Clytemnestra by Costanza Casati. This was something new for me. I have never read anything Greek mythology related, so boom, I'm very open-minded and easy. Clytemnestra follows Clytemnestra on her journey to power, the pain and suffering she endures, and what she sacrifices on the path to becoming queen. This is a tale of revenge, with Clytemnestra making it her mission to enforce her version of justice on people who have inflicted so much pain on her. I'm talking making her life a living hell. Now, I went into this with no knowledge about Clytemnestra and her story. Like, I know absolutely nothing about the myth, so I can't speak to how accurate this is to the source material. But what I do know is this book was good. In the very beginning, I could see how people would think that this book is a bit slow. It can be a little difficult to place yourself, if I remember correctly, but that's resolved pretty fast. You're basically with Clytemnestra, actively experiencing her villain origin story with her. And you get to see her dish out this revenge like it's hors d'oeuvres. It's very much a lot. This is a very grand narrative. The story takes place over the course of many years. Different lands and people coming in for the purposes of trade, and they contribute to the story in different ways, and it's just a lot. It's very easy for a story like this to be bloated. Just a lot of unnecessary things happening for the sake of whatever, right? Kind of like you're chasing the author's understanding of their own story, but it does not feel that way at all in this. Like I said, I don't know a ton about the myth, but I have heard from people who do that this book is very historically accurate because it takes place in ancient Greece, and takes some creative liberties with the myth where it's necessary. There are many different interpretations of Clytemnestra's life, the events that occurred, how they occurred, but from what I've seen, apparently Casati is very good at sticking to the story everybody knows while also making it her own. In this, you are constantly anticipating Clytemnestra's next move. When will she have enough? How much does she have to endure? When does the story kind of switch? When do we see her make her first move to punish those who have wronged her? It's very difficult to have me on the edge of my seat for this long, and the book did that. I was literally getting my hair braided and I could not look up from the book. They were pulling me every which way and I was like, wait, give me a second, I gotta turn the page. Like, it was very serious. I bought another book by this author immediately after I finished this. I haven't read that one yet. It's Babylonia, but I will. Now, speaking of myths, let's get into book 3. Oathbound by Tracy Deonn. So if you literally watch me on TikTok at all, and you should, I cannot shut up about this book the entire series. I always make it a point to recommend this series anytime that I possibly can. I love it so much, and we got blessed with the third book in the series earlier this year. Legendborn follows a 16-year-old girl named Brianna Matthews, who is attending an early college program at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. She has recently lost her mother in an accident and is not only struggling immensely with her grief, but also with the mysterious nature of her mother's passing. Her first night on campus, Bree witnesses a magical attack, and this introduces her to a secret society on campus called the Legendborn. And Bree starts to get a little suspicious because she thinks that her mother's death is connected to the Legendborn. And that may not be the only thing that's connected to the Legendborn. Yeah, this is deep. It goes deep. And the more she finds herself looking, the more she discovers, and she has a 4-book journey of self-discovery. This story is a King Arthur retelling, and I love King Arthur retellings. My Avalon High girls, stand up, stand up, stand up. That was my first real tango with King Arthur and the lore, and I fell in love with it, genuinely. So when I found out about this, I knew I was about to be in for a treat. But Legendborn twists it around, turns it into something fresh, you know? And Tracy Deonn intertwines the myth of King Arthur with Black history and customs, and just really makes the King Arthur lore so especially tailored to Bree and her family history. It's so... Ooh. No, because if I think about it too much, my brain's gonna explode. And also, Bree is going to an early college program at a predominantly white institution. So you walk with her through her experience with racism, both covert and overt, at UNC. I am convinced that if this was not a YA series, people would take it 20 times more seriously, and so many more people would pick it up. It disappoints me. It's refreshing and challenging. Tracy Deonn does not hold your hand the entire time. And I think that a lot of people expect that from YA, that the authors don't leave anything up to interpretation. They just kind of lay it all out there. She doesn't do that. Because Oathbound is the third book, I can't tell you much about this one because then I'll spoil it. But I need to do a reread. Even though I did a reread before this one came out, I need to do one again because I need to determine which book is my favorite now that I've read all of them. So that's my excuse. In 2026, I will be rereading the Legendborn series, or the first 3 books that have come out, because I need to see which one's my favorite. But right now, I think this one is. Right now, I think this one is. I cried so much while I was reading this. I don't think I cried in either of the 2 previous books. This did a number on me. I mean, a number. It is a breathtaking addition to the world. It expands on the political commentary that it touches on in the previous books in some really brilliant ways. Tracy Deonn just wields the genre of fantasy in a way that I truly have never seen before. Moving on, drumroll please, we got book number 4, and that is James by Percival Everett. James was a book that I knew would be a banger before I even read it, but I could not have even imagined, fathomed how much of an impact this book would have on me. This novel follows Jim, an enslaved man who journeys down the Mississippi River towards the promise of freedom for him and his family. Except with him, he's not alone. No. With him is a young boy named Huck, who is not only his travel companion, but also has his own reasons to be fleeing his current circumstances. The catalyst for this escape, you may ask? Well, Jim overheard that he is about to be sold to a man in New Orleans, and if he doesn't take the chance to escape now, he may never see his family again. As you can probably tell already, this is a Huckleberry Finn retelling. And as somebody who's not read Huckleberry Finn, you do not need to read that before you read this. I really mean it when I say this. You will have an incredible experience with this book without having ever touched Huckleberry Finn. Percival Everett made me check my own biases. Percival Everett really challenged my worldview 20,000 times in this book in ways that I didn't think was possible because I thought I was good. Like, I actually thought that I was good, but the little choices that he makes in this while telling Jim's story, he gives his tale a new flair. Like, every creative addition or creative liberty that he takes revitalizes the source material. Every character, every new location in this book, every experience that Jim has contributes to who he is by the last page of the book. There is no fluff. It is all very concise. Every moment has a purpose. I could not put this down. I read like 90% of this in one sitting. I actually recently got the opportunity to go to the New York Times office and talk with the team about the best books of 2025. I got a tour of the massive New York City headquarters, but we also had incredible conversations about our favorite books, books that may not be our favorites. And even though this came out in 2024, you best believe this was my pick. This was one of my picks because I cheated a little bit. And I put 2 books in my bag. And the second book is actually next up on this list. I'm a cheater, I'm a liar, but it's for the greater good. The second book that I brought to the office, but also book 5, is Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. I don't know why I have a smile on my face. It's actually not funny. Imagine I say I just can't talk about it and we move on to book 6. Book 6, I'm kidding. I'm not gonna do that to you. I'm gonna brave this. But seriously, if you are already subscribed to this YouTube channel, then you know that me and this book, I mean, it's my enemy for sure. It is my enemy, but we also go together so damn bad. We are dropped into District 12 again, but instead of being behind Katniss's eyes, we are behind Haymitch's. And it starts off the morning of the reaping for the 50th Hunger Games, also known as the Second Quarter Quell. We learn about Haymitch and how he becomes the drunken but devoted mentor of Katniss and Peeta in their games, and honestly throughout the rest of the original trilogy. And trust, you may think you know what happened to Haymitch, but you don't have a clue, not even a little bit. Whatever you think happened to him, multiply it by 10 and then infinity. After you read this, you will want to go back and reread all the other books and rewatch all the movies because you will so desperately want to see what you missed. Like, what seeds did Suzanne Collins plant to give us this story in the end? Collins so seamlessly weaves this new perspective into the narrative after seemingly having no intentions to write this book until like 5 seconds ago. Baby, what is going on in that head? And I'm being dead serious. I had quite literally just started my rewatch of all the movies after attempting to reread Sunrise on the Reaping, and I failed miserably at rereading Sunrise on the Reaping because I read the first 10 pages and was like, no, I can't do that again, actually. I'm really good on that. But then Lionsgate, yes, Big Papa Lionsgate called me up and was like, hey, Miss Girl, do you want to fly to Berlin and do a little tour of all the previous set locations? Bye. I ran. I literally hung up the phone and I ran to the airport. It was the coolest experience on the face of the planet. Like, I was so confused on how, you know what? I wasn't confused because I've been manifesting something like this since the day I was born. Let's be serious. Since the day that I decided that the Hunger Games was gonna be my entire personality for the rest of my life, I knew in my bones that this was at the end of the tunnel for me. If you told little Eden that she would be in Mr. Lionsgate's phone for anything Hunger Games related, she would burst into flames. The girl on fire, not Katniss, no, that's me. If you're curious about what that looked like, I posted a video about it on TikTok, so you can go check that out. This goes without saying, this was my favorite book of the year. It's a toss-up between this and this, but I may have to give it to Sunrise just because the story, I mean, this is decades of when I finished this book, my best friend was taking a nap next to me and I was sobbing hysterically next to her while she's just like out like a light. I wish there was a camera in my room to really witness that moment because it looked ridiculous. In stark contrast, another book that I loved this year and is surprisingly the only contemporary romance on this list is Problematic Summer Romance by Ali Hazelwood. Ali Hazelwood puts out, no joke, 77 books a year, and she's honestly the only author that I let get away with it because you would think that the books would be offensively bad with the rate that she's pumping them out, but they're not. She knows what works, and the bills are getting paid, surely. She's really in her own league when it comes to that. I don't think there are many authors who can do this so frequently and get away with it, but Allie, big fat forehead kiss for you, okay? Let me really sit up to tell you about this, because Problematic Summer Romance is the second book in an interconnected standalone series, and the first book is Not in Love. Actually, would you consider it a series or a duology? I think maybe a duology. Interconnected standalone duology. A concept. It's not necessary to read Not in Love before you read this. It'll give you some context for where they are and why they're there, but you don't really need it. I read Not in Love, so like if you have the time, do it, but you don't need to. In Not in Love, the male main character is Eli, and his little sister is Maya. This is Maya's book. And Connor. You may be thinking, who the hell is Connor? Well, I'll tell you. Connor is Eli's best friend and also work partner. They work at a biotech company together. Connor is the love interest in Maya's story, and he is 38 years old and she is 23. Now wait, put the gun down. Okay, put it down. Literally terrifying. Under any other circumstances, I would think that this book needed to be burned at the stake, but let me tell you how Allie swings this. Let me just tell you, if you're willing to listen, if you open an ear to me. Maya is a grad student, and like I said, Connor works at a biotech company with Eli and is really successful. You get a little bit of the backstory of their work relationship in Not in Love. You wouldn't think there's a world where a romance could blossom between these two people, because the age gap is horrendous and they're in completely different places in their life. But the way that Allie writes Connor, he is so painfully aware of how weird this is. He is so painfully aware of how odd this is, and he is actively pushing Maya away. He thinks this little crush that she has is cute. You know in the movies when people are fighting and one person is much smaller and the other person's much taller or bigger, and they just kind of put their hand on the smaller person's head, and the smaller person is kind of just like batting the air and they can't reach them? That is the dynamic between Connor and Maya. He doesn't want to take advantage of her. He communicates to her repeatedly that he doesn't want to take advantage of her and she needs to leave him alone. But Maya is persistent. She is. Throughout this story, you see the many ways that Connor kind of steps in and saves Maya in different situations, and something does grow from that, but I don't know how to explain to you, like, it's so difficult. You just need to read the book. I don't want to spoil anything, but something needs to be said about Allie's ability to write such problematic subject matter and write it in a way that doesn't piss me off, because I am strict. Like, I am generally pretty strict about stuff like this. Some people would write a story like this between two people who have a 15-year age gap and be very irresponsible with how they handle it. I feel like Allie did a great job, and I'm not the only one. A lot of my mutuals who generally would also not love something like this ate this book right the hell up. And that's why I say Allie Hazelwood is constantly casting spells. She's constantly casting spells on us. She makes me like things that I genuinely would have never fathomed enjoying at any moment prior to picking up her books. It's genuinely terrifying. I also would consider this to be one of Allie's stronger books in terms of just like narrative structure and pacing. In the past, one of the things that I've struggled with her books is that they're a slow burn of sorts. Not all the time, but it feels like even if it's not a slow burn, it takes us a long time to kind of get to the climax, and then it all just finishes very quickly. But this didn't suffer from that, in my opinion. It's also set in a very beautiful environment. We're in a Sicilian villa because Eli is getting married, and we get flashbacks to Maya and Connor's interactions prior to this trip. The setting is lush, vibes. It's lush. The perfect book for vacation, or if you're miserable in the winter and want to feel like you're on vacation in Italy, yeah, pick it up. Moving on to book 7, and I'm going to get my light so that it's a little brighter because it is a little too dark for my liking. Book 7 is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. This is actually the only science fiction book that I read this year, if you don't count The Hunger Games, because it's technically dystopian. I really didn't need any more. Like, I'm fed. This was so good. Dear God. I recommended this almost 500-page science fiction book to my brother, who basically only reads nonfiction and the occasional romance that I force him to read for balance. He called me and said, Eden, I usually don't have the attention span for this kind of thing. Which I was like, you read nonfiction, what are you talking about? But he said he doesn't have the attention span for this kind of thing, but ate it right up. So, oh, it's a little glossy. Let that be a testament to how this book transcends different book tastes. Project Hail Mary follows Ryland Grace, who wakes up to discover that he is the only man alive on a spacecraft that is hurtling further and further away from Earth. He doesn't remember anything. Not a goddamn thing. And you know what makes this scarier? Yeah, the moment that he wakes up, he looks to his left and he looks to his right, boom, 2 dead crewmates. So not only does he have to find out what happened to his crew, he has to find out why he is on this spacecraft. The mission, though, that he soon realizes he is on is saving the human race, because there is an extinction level event happening down on the ground. But like I said, he doesn't remember anything. So when he finds that out, he has to work towards figuring out how to fix this issue. So that's fun. It starts off feeling a little info dumpy. This book very quickly becomes one of the most heartfelt, I should actually say heart-crunching, heart-wrenching books, with Ryland making bigger and bigger realizations about his role in saving the human race. And over time, he not only pieces together exactly what he needs to do, but starts to remember how he found himself in this position in the first place. I am so serious when I say sobbing at the end of this book, crying so hard. I would highly suggest that you either listen to the audiobook or read the physical book and listen to the audiobook at the same time. But the audiobook, you can't remove that part. You have to have the audiobook, because this is one of the best audiobook narrations I have ever heard in my life. Sometimes audiobook narrators sound like they're being held at gunpoint and you need to call somebody. But in this one, no, like passion. You know, so dynamic and matches the tone of this book so well. And the more you read the book, you'll understand exactly why having the audiobook, like having an audio element to pair with the reading experience of this, is just so chef's kiss. And they are making a screen adaptation of Project Hail Mary starring Ryan Gosling. Hi. I'm so excited, especially because The Martian is one of my favorite films ever, and that was based off of another one of Andy Weir's books, so I have high hopes for this. I will be in the theater with my AMC A-list, living my best life. Speaking of saving the human race, let's talk about tuberculosis. Now, I don't have the physical copy of this book with me right now because I either can't find it or my sister still has it because she was borrowing it. Either way, apologies. Book 8 is Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green. Now, John Green, that's my white uncle. If you follow John Green at all, you will know that he has a passion for discussing the failure that is the persistence of tuberculosis in the 21st century. Now, yes, this book is all about tuberculosis, its history, and the moral crimes that wealthy countries have committed by not democratizing the cure. But within that, the heart of this book is Henry, a young boy in Sierra Leone that was diagnosed with tuberculosis. Henry and John met in 2019, and since then, John has made it his mission to introduce Henry to the rest of the world. What is so devastating about this book is John makes it very clear. This disease is curable and preventable, but it is killing people at alarming rates in countries that don't have access to the measures that we do in countries like the United States. It's what makes this story even uglier. We have a fix and we dole it out as if there's a shortage, and there is not. There is more than enough to go around. John Green has always had a way of captivating the reader with his ability to appeal to the softest parts of you. I will always read a book that John Green puts out. It's a done deal. I was not disappointed by this at all. 5 stars. Such an impressive way to provide crucial facts while not dishing them out in bullet points. It's so hard to explain, but you can tell that John Green is a fiction writer when you're reading this. And I think that makes the book so much more powerful. Now let's discuss book 9, and that is The Second Death of Locke by V.L. Bovalino. V.L. Bovalino. I could sing it like a song. This is one of the best romantic fantasies that I've read in years. My friend Efrata recommended this book to me, and she didn't warn me. Now, granted, she was reading it at the same time as me, so she couldn't have really warned me that much, but still, I'm mad at her for real. This book follows Gray and Keir. They are childhood best friends, and honestly, I just want to read the synopsis, or the first few lines of the synopsis, so that you can understand the nature of their relationship, because it's actually sick. Gray Flynn has dedicated her life to her mage, Keir. She will be his blade on the battlefield, his healer and protector. The deep well of raw power inside her is Keir's to use. Gray would do anything for Keir, be anything for him, if he would only ask. That's right. Yeah, that's right. She is a lady knight. 2026 is the year of the lady knight. I'm telling you. I'm begging you, actually. I'm not telling you anything. I'm begging you. Like, keep pumping lady knights out. She is a knight and he her mage. She is the well of power that he extracts magic from. Enough has been said. Is that not the perfect setup for a romantic fantasy novel? But they have a secret that they will guard with their lives, but that is getting increasingly harder to do when they go on a quest that pulls them deeper and deeper into a war between nations. I made a video about this book before I finished it on TikTok, and people were begging me for the title of this book. And it's my fault. It's my fault, truly, because the way that I did this, I made the video and said that in the video, I said, I am reading a book that I think will be my greatest contribution to this platform, and if it stays good, I will let y'all know what it is. People were this close to egging my house. Like, I'm telling you, this close to TPing my home. I disappeared for 2 days. I finished the book. I came back, boom. Banger. Bovalino's writing, you know what, I'm gonna call her Tori, because she commented on my video and said that I could call her Tori. So Tori, me and Tori. Her one-liners is nasty. She knows how to put a sentence together. She knows how to put words together in a way nobody else does. I would pay big bucks, big dolores, to have Bovalino write a contemporary romance. Actually, she could keep that. I changed my mind. She could keep that, because I don't know if I can handle it. In my opinion, the romance in this is stronger than the fantasy. It's not that the fantasy is weak, it's just the romance will stand out as the more unique part of this book. And because of the knight and mage dynamic, obviously the fantasy and the romance are intertwined, and you don't even have an idea. You have no idea how good it is. Oh my God. But when it came to the world building and everything, let's just say I wasn't as locked in. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. But that's okay, because it all blended together to be something so delicious that it didn't matter. This is the first book in an interconnected standalone series, and for fantasy, I feel like that's pretty rare. So I will be begging on my hands and knees, shamelessly, for the next book, all of 2026. I don't know when the next book's gonna come out, but I need her to put a motor on that hand with that pen. Like, put a motor on it. Okay. So we have reached the end of this video, but as promised, I do have an honorable mention that will take the place of the 10th book. And that is The Raven Scholar by Antonia Hodgson. Now, I have only read 1 chapter of this book. How could I possibly put this on the list if I've only read 1 chapter? This is a 670-page book, and usually when it comes to fantasy, people will tell you, especially long fantasy, like epic fantasy, 700, 800 pages, people will tell you, oh, the first 200 pages, you just have to suck it up, get through it, and then it'll get good. No. Chapter 1, I'm in it. I'm in it. And that's hard with books of this length, because it's a long book. You got a lot of story to set up. Hodgson, I don't know what you put in this. Girl, I don't know what you put in this, but chapter 1, I'm with you. And I just know based off of what all my mutuals are saying that this is gonna be the 1, the 2, and the 3 for me. I first heard about this book right when it came out, or like a little bit before it came out. I think some people read an arc, and my mutual, Allie, was actually the first person who brought this book to my attention. Allie is a star. I love Allie so much. I love her. Like, she's really just so great, and brought what seems to be a great book to my life. And now Lexi is banging on my door 25/8 for me to start this. And I actually just told her that I started it. So, and I'm buddy reading it with my friends. I'm so excited. Sorry, was that loud? The mic is right here. Let's not do that. I am beyond excited to continue reading this. And although I will not be finishing this before the clock strikes 12 tonight, it doesn't matter. It'll mean we start off 2026 with a bang. Okay, guys, those are all of my favorite books from 2025. I cannot believe how fast this year went by. When I said a sneeze at the beginning of this video, I really meant that. 2025 may be the fastest year that I've experienced to date, but I am so excited for all the good things that 2026 has in store. And hopefully we will have an amazing reading year where we maybe hopefully meet our reading goal. If we don't, who cares? It's definitely not going to be 100 though. Because I think I set myself up for failure with that number. Anyway, I wish you guys the best in this new year, and I am so excited to continue making more videos on here for y'all in 2026. So on that note, we're gonna close out. I love you so much. Bye.